Greetings, fellow thinkers and drinkers and Motörhead fans. Well, yes, if we transport ourselves back into the world of Motörhead, and we arrive in the year 2010, that must mean, according to the calendar in use, that it's time for The World Is Yours. Only a little bit of background this time. Same band, same producer, nothing that dramatic to report. However, a few reviews ago, when the band first signed with SP4 Steamhammer Records, I made the confident statement that they had remained, or they were to remain with them to the end of their career. I was in error. For starting here with The World Is Yours, there was a change of record company, of which I either did not know or had completely forgotten. Either, it does not really matter. Another German label, they seemed happy with at least with their last one. UDH in Germany, distributing the record in Germany. I think perhaps also in Europe, but it was EMI distributing in the rest of the world. Now, I haven't dug too much into this, so I don't know if UDH or UDH, if they are or were EMI subsidiary. I'm afraid I don't know, and it doesn't really matter, I don't think. But whether this change was a result of, or because of, or purely coincidental too, they seem to have formed their own publishing company, namely Motor Music, which went on, obviously took a role in the releasing of the album. From a business point of view, yes, okay, makes sense, doesn't it? Your publishing rights. Don't know exactly how it works in a legal sense, but yeah. Where there's money, there's a lawyer. It's the same as where there is a will, there is a relative. Okay, enough of that. The album was ultimately released in December of said year, 2010, and it was dedicated by Lemmy and the band to the late Ronnie James Dio, who passed in May of that year. So on that slightly somber note, let's take a look at what we got this time. Born to Lose kicks things off. Great driving beat. Nice dynamic riff and vocal melody, one has to say. Interesting drum track. Especially on the verses on this one. It's machine gun-like. And somehow, if you think about it, it should be at odds with the rest of the song. But it isn't. It's actually seamless. But it's strange. And if you think about it, or perhaps just the way I thought about it, who knows, it could actually, the drum track, you could almost think this is from a different song, but somehow it shouldn't work. But it does. But anyway, be that as it may, this is another really strong opener. It's a nice hint of menace to it. Good start. I Know How to Die up next. Okay, this is a nice Motörhead rock and roll type song. You know, it got me thinking, how many songs can they write in this style? Yet still make them individual. Well, based on the evidence here, and to come, I will say, the answer seems to be this: that they have an almost limitless ability to do this. You would think that this is a restrictive, almost, limitation, but somehow they make it work. And I have to say, this is another classic in that vein. It really is. I absolutely love it. They follow it up with Get Back in Line, which is similar in style, I have to say, and normally that can, sometimes when that happens, one thinks about the sequencing even of the album. But no, it's not jarring at all. It flows actually quite nicely from one to the other. Again, it's similar in style and structure. It's that Motörhead rock and roll, but again, it's instantly identifiable and distinct. It contains all the classic Motörhead landmarks that make these type of songs so damn good. And besides, it happens to be a hell of a lot of fun. They move on to Devils in My Head, so absolutely no let-up here. For Motörhead, this is more of a mid-paced effort, I would say. But it's got a really strong pre-chorus chorus to it, which makes it yet another earworm. And I have to say, 4 tracks in, and this is really shaping up to be an absolute belter. Rock and roll music is interesting. The main guitar lick, not the riff, the main guitar lick does have more than that hint of good old-fashioned rock and roll about it. Kind of quaint in its own way. And while this may actually be the most radio-friendly track on the album so far, for it does have another instantly memorable chorus, this in no way diminishes it. It's another winner. It's another really strong song, really strong track. And yeah, I have to say, this is really looking good. Waiting for the Snake. It's got a really nice opening riff, and supporting the riff, bubbling under the riff, or trebling under the riff perhaps, some really nice bass work from Lemmy. First time I heard this didn't really grab me, I must be honest. But no, it's a bit of a grower. Repeated listens, at least in my case, most certainly did the trick. What upon initial listen was perhaps not the strongest thing on show here. It's up there with the rest of the album. Really nice track. It is a little different. And again, as I've said on many of the, just about all the interviews, they do, from album to album, try little changes to make things a little different. We then go on to Brotherhood of Man. Now, when this starts, it's got that heavy, hypnotic, hymnal almost type riff and construction and drive and beat to it. A little hint, it almost swings, almost. And if we're being absolutely honest, this is not a million miles away from Orgasmatron, neither in rhythm, structure, or vocal delivery. It really isn't. But what sets this apart, not only from Orgasmatron, but for me from the rest of the album, is the pre-chorus and the chorus, which is absolutely immense. It is one of their very best. It elevates what is already a really strong piece, a really strong track, into something really special. This should be a Motörhead classic. It really should. There should be no Best of Motörhead compilation anywhere that omits this. For me, it is a Motörhead classic, and I've never been asked to compile a Best of Motörhead. Probably never will. I think that's a safe bet for any gamblers out there. But were I, this would be on it. It's a great song. Yes, all right, you can say, okay, inspired by, influenced by Orgasmatron, there's no denying it. But this goes down its own path. It is superb. Absolutely love this song. They follow it up with Outlaw, which is the most metal sounding song on an album. On this album, at least. We've had a few bits, a few tastes of the good old-fashioned Motörhead rock and roll, but this is, I think this is perhaps the most metal track on offer. And I have to say the verses are not perhaps the strongest. It beetles along in at a really fast pace and really fine style. Great riff, great playing as always. Gets the head banging, sure, of course, but there's something about the verses just not that strong. But again, and I mentioned this before, you get to the chorus on this one, and it really rescues it as perhaps going too far. But it turns it into a really, really good song where it could have been a little mundane. And because of that, I have to say, again, on an album this strong, it doesn't let the side down. It most certainly doesn't. What is interesting here is they're trying, as I said, a little bit of mixing things up musically, and they pick up the pace, the tempo for the middle eight, which sounds really good, and is not hurt in any way, shape or form by Phil Campbell's guitar solo, which really stands out. Not that he ever does a bad solo, but this one just really stands out. Okay, we're heading to the close, and next song is I Know What You Need. It's another out-and-out rocker. But this one is a really, really strong composition, really well constructed. And again, this is a hell of a lot of fun. It's just one of those songs. It's not revelatory. This is not, they're not exploring new territory musically here, but that's not what we've come to expect, and it's not what we buy this stuff for, or for why we listen to it. But if this does not get your head banging, then there is no hope. There is really no hope. The album itself closes with Bye Bye Bitch, Bye Bye, which is more back in the rock and roll vein. And it's a caustic but funny lyric from Lemmy. Really nice way to finish the album. And there's been a fair bit of Motörhead rock and roll on this, so it's fitting that it comes to a close on that on a similar note. And, well, I say come to a close. The version I have, and I've ripped it to my computer years ago. I don't have the physical product anywhere near me, the physical copy of the album anywhere near me. I mean, it's separated by continents. So I looked this up on the Wikipedia page for the album, and this isn't mentioned. But I have a bonus track, if you can call it that. And it's an acoustic version of the Ace of Spades. I don't know. There must have been some edition which included it, but normally Wikipedia is pretty good about listing all these things and variations, but no, I couldn't find anything. Well, there you have it, an acoustic version of the Ace of Spades. Well, it's an acoustic blues version of the Ace of Spades, about which all I will say is it is almost interesting. And quite frankly, I could have done without it. And if the album had just ended, I think as it was supposed to end, with Bye Bye Bitch Bye Bye, yeah. But of course I don't have to play it. I could delete it. I'm not going to let it spoil the picnic. Well, what do you say after that? Another 40 minutes that just absolutely flew by. Much to the relief of my neighbors. It's another really great production, I have to say. They've really gelled, Cameron Webb and the band. Sounds absolutely great. All the positive comments I gave about his previous productions, you can cut and paste them here. It's really, really top sounding record. It received what's becoming, as I said, over the last, perhaps even since going back to the turn of the millennium, they were starting to get more favorable critical reviews. The press were more inclined maybe to give them a chance, or being, or perhaps less inclined to shit on them for no reason. Let's put it that way. But all these good, even the good reviews, were always tempered with the usual caveats that they don't explore new ground. This is the same thing. They've recorded the same album. Might be a good one, but they've and we've discussed this. I'm not going to do it again. This one also got into the US Billboard Top 200, got to number 94 on this occasion. In the UK, it got to number 45, and in Germany, to number 25. Strangely, though, it did not sell, or did not, I don't know what its cumulative sales were, but it did not chart as well, shall we say, as Motorizer, which is interesting. So normally, after a successful album, there is always that interest and motivation for people to pick up the follow-up sort of thing. And if we look back at the career of many bands, other bands, that's been the reason why some real turkeys have actually had some decent sales, because it was on the back of something that was a hit. In this case, following Motorizer, which was a really strong album, and they followed it with what I'm going to say is a better album. Yeah, but it just goes to show this, this is alchemy. It's voodoo, isn't it? Predicting how these things will sell. Well, it's not exactly what we define as an exact science. Now, the comparison to Motorizer, that was a very serious album. It was almost they were trying to, really explore the more extreme edge of their sound. Might be going a little far, but that was a really serious album. It was a very focused album, as I said in the review. This sounds like they're having more fun. I'm not saying they didn't enjoy the previous one, but there's a more relaxed feel to this. And when you're perhaps less myopic and focused and having more fun, then the results will be what they are, as we can, the Motorizer and now this. But just because it sounds like they're having more fun, I mean, this is in no way meant to be a criticism. It's just an observation. This is a really infectious album. I think it's the one word that does occur to me. And that was perhaps a quality that was slightly missing from Motorizer, which was perhaps a little serious. And here they're just obviously having an absolute blast. The quality of the songwriting on Motorizer was really high and very consistent from start to finish. Perhaps didn't have too many really outstanding tracks, and there's been a couple on here I mentioned already. They have more memorable hooks and melodies on this album. And each track is a bit of an earworm. Can't get away from that one. In short, this is a really strong effort, and it's a personal favorite, I have to say, in their latter-day efforts. And when I say their latter-day efforts, I'm saying from Hammered onwards. It was a slight blip of the 21st century, but from Inferno through to this, it's just very little to be critical about. Very little indeed. Well, 3 to go. It should have been 2 to go if anyone's been following my countdown, but then we got the retrospective release, didn't we? The Manticore tapes, which I will review when I've finished the rest of the catalogue, and it will give me some time at least to digest it. So, as usual, please let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with me on this one? Do you not agree with me on this one? Anything of importance you think I've missed? And then, as always, please feel free to subscribe, to share, to like, and obviously to comment, as I said. And, once again, I thank you for your indulgence. I wish you well. And Maçhonquèrre.